Hey folks, we're going to keep this one nice, short, and sweet. We're going to learn about using the transform anchor point tool, and let's get right into it. So let's just go ahead and start off by building a rectangle using the rectangular shape tool. And we can see here that we have a stroke set to red. We have no fill. And I want to show you how this tool will actually work. So what we can do is we can go to the toolbar and choose Direct Selection Tool. Now, in programs like Illustrator, you can select each of these anchor points and you can manually manipulate them ad nauseum, right? So that's actually pretty cool. That's something that you may already know. But I want to show you something else that I think is really neat. This involves the Direct Selection Tool. If I were to select over two of the anchor points and then right-click and choose Free Transform Points, this gives me a bounding box. And then with this bounding box, I can scale, and you can see that it turns that rectangle into some type of a trapezoidal shape. I can also rotate. So this gives me way more interesting vectorized shapes. And I can manipulate these anchor points, much quicker. So I've got something that looks like this. And I can still come back in with the anchor point tool and I can just make whatever changes I want. So where is this useful? Well, if you're trying to, say, capture a worm's eye view of a cityscape, you can quickly bring your photo reference in, and then you can bring a shape in, and then you can manually, with the transform anchor point tool, match the overall perspective that you're trying to get to. It's better than the perspective tool in some cases if the perspective is a little bit more complex. But I really do like this. So let's take a look and see how this works with another shape. We'll try the ellipse tool. Hold down the shift key. We're getting this nice, beautiful ellipse. We'll hit the direct selection tool, keyboard shortcut A. That gives us the white arrow that we're looking for. If I select three of the anchor points, you'll notice that the anchor points themselves are basically in dark blue. The anchor point that I have not selected is basically white. So again, I'll just drag that out. And we've got that selection. Now if I right click and choose Free Transform Points, I have the ability now to create some really weird, wacky types of shapes. I can hit enter and I can commit that. Now I've got something that looks kind of like, maybe a horse's head, right? Something like that. You can do all sorts of things with this. All right, so let's do one more. Take the polygon tool and we're going to use the direct selection tool. We'll select maybe the top 4 points of this hexagon. We'll choose Free Transform Points and I'll bring it in. You see how it's basically turning it into more like a barn type of scenario. Or I can pull it out. I can even rotate it. Get some really weird angles that I can hit enter. And now I've got this really amazing looking shape. And then I can also rasterize the layer, hit Command J, Command T, and I can create some kind of interior. The fastest way that I found to create an interior using straight lines, because it's difficult to create diagonal lines in Photoshop, is just to hold down the shift key, make a straight line, make sure it's on its own blank layer. Then you can simply move your line over, hit Command T, move the pivot point to one side and rotate it. And then duplicate it again, Command J. Move it over here, rotate it. And you get these nice, perfectly straight lines, Command J. Move the pivot point up. And I'll talk about this in greater detail in another video, but I'm just showing you that this application really does make it much quicker to create some kind of an interior space. Plus, it gives you shapes that are maybe a little bit more unorthodox. They're not the typical shapes that you might come up with. So hope you found some value in this particular video. It's really, really powerful, this transform anchor points tool. I freaking love it. I think it's a great, great tool. It's kind of a hidden gem, and it allows you to get shapes that you would normally, you'd have to really poke and prod at anchor points to go ahead and get shapes that look as interesting as what you're seeing here. So if you found some value in this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.